This Value Creators course provides you with 11 mental models to run and grow a business of any size and any type. Mental models are nuggets of knowledge, better ways of thinking about how the world really works, in this case, the business world. The mental models we provide you are entirely different than those given to you in a traditional business school education. Mental model number one, and the one that drives all the others, is that value is created by the customer. First, value is the purpose of business, the customer feeling that they're better off, have more well-being. Who creates that feeling? Customers do, in their own minds. That's the only place that value can reside or where it can be experienced. So when we use the typical construct about businesses creating value for customers or about business adding value, we've got the flow in the wrong direction. We're thinking from the inside of the firm to the outside world, thinking that the things we make and the services we provide somehow have some intrinsic value. They don't. Customers create value in their minds. They create it with their expectations and the experience of whether those expectations were met or exceeded. Think of value being out there in the market. It's flowing towards your firm. You need to know how to capture it. It's mostly in the future, so don't worry about having missed it in the past. It's always flowing towards you. Mental model number one is to get the direction of the flow of value right. 3 more mental models combine to give your business the platform to generate new value. Mental model number 2 is knowledge, your knowledge of the customer. A company or a firm is an accumulation of knowledge applied to the benefit of customers. It's know-how, knowing how to serve customers best. Knowledge of the customer and their needs and preferences and unfulfilled dreams and desires and hopes is your business advantage. If you know your customer better than any other rival firm that's vying for their dollar and their loyalty, then you've got a lasting competitive advantage. How do you gather this knowledge? From inside the customer's mind. It's not likely to come from surveys or data analytics or machine learning, although those can contribute something. It's going to come from conversations, especially the listening part, where they talk and you listen. You'll know not just their demographics and behavior and what they bought last week, you'll know their innermost feelings, their highest values, and their most beautiful dreams. Mental model number 2 is continuous gathering, monitoring, and analyzing your customer knowledge. Mental model number 3 is the mental model that gives causal power to that knowledge, empathy. Pursuing the entrepreneurship method requires getting inside the customer's mind, thinking as if you were them. You can't actually think what they think or aspire what they aspire to, but the empathy tool enables you to simulate their experience, simulate feeling what they feel as if you were them. You can then make an accurate entrepreneurial diagnosis of what they really want, what future experience will be the solution for their present unmet need. The empathy model gives us a process to follow, outlined in the empathy module of the Value Creators course. The empathy mental model is one you can practice in order to improve. Am I actually thinking the way the customer would think? Do I fully understand or appreciate their circumstances? Does my simulation of how they feel yield any useful hypotheses about the future appeals to customers? Empathy repays the time we assign to practicing it and getting better at it. Mental model number 4 in the value creator paradigm is marketing. The word marketing usually conjures up connotations of communication and persuading, of logos and colors for influencing and selling. But that's the wrong model. Marketing from the value creator's perspective is behavior, not communications. It's how you act towards your customer. It's loving your customer as you love yourself, taking care of them, never disappointing them, making them a promise of the best possible experience and keeping that promise every time. It's a love affair with the customer. Everyone in your company must act the same way with love towards customers. If you employ chatbots and other automated interfaces, The customer wants them to feel like they're giving love too. In this mental model, you check the customer's emotional security all the time. Do they feel loved? The next cluster of mental models is operational, getting the proposition you've generated ready for market. Mental model number 5 is design. Conventional thinking sees design as a forward progressing series of artifacts, from the first sketch on the back of a napkin, to a focus group testable proposition, to a prototype, to the finished product or service. Design actually goes in the opposite direction, working backwards, not forwards. Working backwards from the customer, using empathically acquired knowledge, entrepreneurs extract the value from the customer knowledge and use it to guide the creation of new services for the customer to experience. Design integrates customer wants with producer, partner, supplier, and customer capabilities in a new, seamlessly integrated network to deliver service that's valued. The design mental model is executed by the innovation model, which is mental model number 6. Innovation is turning the design into a customer experience, a new and better experience for which the customer is willing to pay. In other words, innovation must include a business model. And often the new business model itself is the innovation. DoorDash says nothing new about food or recipes or dining at home, but it has a compelling new business model for those things. The core of the innovation mental model is keeping the value proposition promise flawlessly. Nothing is ever good enough or complete. There's always dissatisfaction in the marketplace to be addressed, and you can never stop thinking about improvement. Innovation should be unique to your customers and their relation to your firm. Don't think of innovation as an add-on or a bonus, but as everyday behavior by everyone in your company. Innovation is experimenting all the time, knowing that there will be unexpected outcomes and twists and turns, yet always keeping a portfolio of experiments cooking, mixing and adjusting until some of them are ready for the customer. Make innovation your normal behavior. Mental model number 7 is the method to capture all this. The flow of knowledge from the customer, the empathic diagnosis, its transposition into the new design, and the new and better experiences. This mental model is entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is action. It's the method of translating the genius of the customer in never being satisfied and the energy of the customer in demanding greater satisfaction into the innovative design and delivery of new and better products and services. Entrepreneurial profits come from acting on the anticipation of customers' future satisfaction better than others do it. And it's not just thinking about it. There's a bit of magic in this mental model. We call the magic entrepreneurial judgment. The signals of dissatisfaction coming from the customer are what system scientists call weak signals. Entrepreneurs have to learn to act on weak signals. Customers can express unease, but can't tell you exactly how they want it fixed. Entrepreneurship takes those weak signals, amplifies them into testable hypotheses, and utilizes the customer knowledge and relationships to generate and interpret the feedback loops that point to where value can be discovered through action. By learning the mental model of entrepreneurial action and developing the supporting knowledge and skills, you'll turn weak signals into cash flow and profit. The final cluster of mental models keeps your business sustainably successful. Mental model number 8 is for finance and accounting. And value creators think of 2 kinds of accounting, not just one. The first kind is backward looking. It's keeping count at the end of the week and the month and the year, doing the important job of tracking cash flow and costs. It's also calculating a balance sheet, which has some judgment in it because it requires putting a number on those future value flows coming from the customer, which are inherently uncertain, so it's a judgment call. That's part of entrepreneurial judgment. But the other part of finance and accounting is looking forward. How will new projects in your portfolio of experiments perform in facilitating experiences for the customer that they can turn into value and future cash flow? How much should the firm invest in them? What's their net present value? The answer is a creative guess. We call that kind of accounting economic calculation. It's got numbers in it, but also imagination and creativity. Don't let accountants tell you otherwise. Mental model number 9 is organization. And the value creator's mental model is don't organize. There's a lot about management that's anathema to entrepreneurship, and the lines and boxes and hierarchical authority and power structures of organization charts and the thinking behind them, where some individuals are directing the behaviors of others rather than leaving them free to respond to customers in whatever way is best for value, can be very limiting. The knowledge needed to serve customers is widely dispersed among your employees and suppliers. Let them self-organize to use it to the fullest. The ideal is autonomy for the front end of the firm that's interfacing with customers. The autonomy can be guided by purpose and with targets in mind, but it's not centrally planned and it's not authority-based. Give the customer all the authority. Mental model number 10 is business as a flow. The traditional way of thinking about business is a series of static events. You make a plan, you implement it, you engage in transactions with customers. They're all sequential events. Entrepreneurial business is a continuous flow loop, processing market data while observing it, adjusting the entrepreneurial intent as you process the data, deciding and acting on your intent in the form of both new experiments with customers and continuing operational excellence in serving those customers. Thus generating new feedback data to process and keep the loop moving. Flow is an approach to business, and it's also a pattern for individuals. Your work is flow, and you can continuously improve your performance, get better at what you're doing while you're doing it. Flow is the model for firms and teams and individuals. It's for you. Mental model number 11 is knowledge accumulation through error correction. Knowledge is information with causal power. As such, it's the source of competitive advantage, increasing the potential to anticipate the future more accurately. Knowledge is never complete. We can always enhance it. The way to do that is to critique it, criticize it, identify the gaps and the flaws. This takes a particular kind of open-minded collaboration. Anyone who has an idea or a proposed solution to a problem presents it to others in the appropriate forum and seeks the criticism, not in terms of, here's what's wrong with your idea, but in terms of, do we have as much knowledge as we need to be sure this is true? And if not, agree on how to obtain that knowledge through testing new hypotheses, connecting with others who might have the knowledge, or any other way of generating net new knowledge. This knowledge accumulation model integrates with entrepreneurship as a continuing loop and with business as a flow. Knowledge is a process, just as value is a process, and value creation is a process. We haven't exhausted the list of useful mental models with these 11. There are more. But hopefully, with these models of reversing the flow of business, putting the customer in charge, thinking of value as a process rather than inherent in a product or a service, business as a portfolio of experiments, and all the others, you can think in new ways about creating value for customers. Please enjoy our Value Creators course.